a battle axe at the end of the conference.
We got the good vibe, got the 1942 pouring in my cup. In the session real loud, good gas, yeah, you know we about to roll it up. Bring the bottle to the session, big tab, go ahead and just live it up. Get lit one night, after that we can go ahead.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Icon, and we're here on 95 South, podcast show. So, let me say this. First and foremost, I want to thank God for this opportunity to be here once again on this show, on this platform. But the reason why I'm saying podcast show, because after talking to my brother, after talking about around the people around me, we're bigger than just a podcast. You know what I'm saying? We about to go back into television on Apple and Roku. We've been there before. We about to have another situation. We in 181 countries with Village Global Network. We on other radio stations. So, and we move around already like we're on TV. We do media all the time. So we already bigger than a podcast. And that's no slight to people who do podcasts, but we're not just a podcast. You know what I'm saying? We are radio personalities. And it's funny because the owners of Village Global Network, Kimmy and Senior, have to remind us that of all the time when we try to box our own selves in. And they're the ones that kind of had to remind us, like, y'all not just podcasters, y'all radio personalities. And so I just wanted to put that out there, that's what we're going to as being podcast show, so people understand what we're doing. But anyway, I want to introduce my right-hand man, you know what I'm saying, your baby mama's favorite host, you know what I'm saying, the guy that keeps everything moving and grooving, you know what I'm saying, my man Jacob the Great. What's going on, fam?
What's happening, man? Glad to be on this side of the dirt. Every day we get a chance and a choice, and another day to get it all the way right, for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So go ahead and introduce this man. We had him on here before, and we had some technical difficulties. Man. And so, hopefully tonight look like it's going to be a better situation, like he got his internet fixed.
Yeah. Word. Man,
he must have had cricket or something last time. I don't know what he was working with.
Listen, we was having a crazy storm.
Yeah, I'm just messing with you.
So, got none other than Mac Nova, man. What's up, brother?
Man, I'm just happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me on again, fellas. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Word, man. So, man, with all that you do, man, and when people want to know what time is it?
Say that one more time. To end
you break it up now this time.
Yeah. I heard what all you do. That's all I caught.
I said, can you hear me?
Yeah, clear. Nope, I'm still waiting for the question.
Who is Mac Nova?
Me.
No, but what I'm asking you is when people want to know the answer. Who is Mac Nova?
Okay, that's the question. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last end of the question. My bad, sir. Basically, I'm a rapper out of Detroit, Michigan, born and raised. I've been doing my thing in Toledo for about 10 years. Hip hop specialized, heavy songwriter. If I was displaying my sound, I would just say big. I'm definitely influenced by Motown, and I hang my hat up on performing on stage. That's where I believe I'm elite at.
Okay. So what is it like growing up in Motor City, man? Like what is it like for a musician?
I lost you again. I heard what it's like growing up in Motor City, and I didn't hear after that.
I think you said what it like being a musician, growing up in Motor City. Musician.
The truth of the matter is I didn't do a stitch of music when I was back in Detroit. When I moved down here to Toledo is when I kind of, hit my stride. I freestyled in front of some coworkers. They demanded I went to the studio. From then on, I started making songs, and I've been addicted ever since, man. But as far as growing up in Detroit, I was a little different from me. I was in the hood, but I'm private school. So my mom was all about my academics. She didn't play no games. She didn't like no C's.
Mm-hmm. So well, I'm gonna let him get that together. So basically, you said growing up in going to private school and living in the hood. How was that like around with the other kids, your other peers? Was you getting bullied? Were you getting talked about? Like, because you know how we are in the black neighborhood.
Yeah.
A lot of times you look as being soft or being whatever weak if you don't go to school with the other kids.
It's crazy that you one of the only people that like instantly picked up on that. Like, like it was heavy contention. Like I went to school till July, so I went to school for 11 months out of the year. So when spring came, we switched over to summer uniforms. So when I'm coming home from school, all the kids outside. So I done did everything from being chased to being whatever to, I just, I thugged it out. You know what I'm saying? What I noticed is that what we probably still suffer from as a community is a lot of people join them because they can't beat them. And I just refused. I stayed to myself until I started playing football and got popular enough to hold my own with the other fellas. But besides then, yeah, I was getting chased. I was getting fights, everything.
Yeah, cause I know it had to be because you grew up in one of the toughest cities in America, at least as far as
Yeah,
goes, and what we hear about Detroit, around in other areas. And see, your story is unique anyway because of the path you took. You didn't take the street path. You didn't take the hood, the hustler path. You actually went to college and all that. Well, I mean, I'm gonna let you explain your path, but of course, from last time and then reading up
right.
on you and or whatever, your path is very, very unique. That's why we definitely want to bring you back on because you actually are a great example of you don't have to be from the streets. You don't have to be some tough guy to be a great artist.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, basically when music found me before I got sick, I was about to be a nurse. So as far as like music finding me, it was literally like it touched me one day in a way that is as close to spiritual as I think you can get without, going to church. So with that being said, like it's a much harder path to go against the grain, but the things that you get as a result are damn near close to superpowers. Like I got the ability to drift in between the hood and white spaces. I code switch with ease. So that definitely helps me when I'm dealing with executives and you know what I'm saying, people of that nature. I know how to hold myself in an interview. These things are very important in some worlds and not in others, but you find that they're useful if you got a hand in each.
So of course you dealt with uh you was in mental health or dealing with kids with mental health or bit with like autism. Was it autism?
It was a laundry list of things.
Okay. So because I got a son that's autistic. I used to be a counselor myself when it comes to
Wow.
behavior is. So how was that journey for you, and what did you learn from that, from having being in that world?
I mean, first and foremost, it's what drew me into the medical field. Like, just being honest with you, it was just I've never got that feeling out of anything before. You know what I'm saying? Like helping people that are truly appreciative. Um, that stuff will make you thank God that you were born with all of your faculties.
Hmm.
Like that's where I'm just happy to be here from. Because I'm dealing with people who have things every day that I wouldn't know how to get up in the morning with.
Hmm.
It's like I dealt with one guy where he had severe social anxiety, but he built this house every brick. You can't
Hmm.
tell me that most people walking around are smarter than that man,
Yeah.
but he wish he can go outside and interact with people and do all, but he just can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's all type of different aspects that are humble your butt, and really know how thankful you should be for some of the smallest things that we might take for granted.
Yeah. And see what I and reason why I can agree with you is a couple of things. One, my son, he plays the drums. He taught himself to play drums when he was 3 on his grandmother's pots and pans.
Oh wow.
And he can play any genre of music. So he could play country, he could play rock and roll, he could play his favorite group is Trans-Siberian Orchestra. He
What?
goes to concerts every year.
I know exactly who that is.
Yeah, every Christmas he goes to their concerts. Last summer or last Labor Day, we was at the beach in Panama City, and he just happened to find some dive bar that had a band in there, live band in there. And they said he was in there, only little black kid in the whole bar. And then he was like, asked if he could play. And they was like, yeah, sure, we'll let you get up here for one song. And he was so good at it, they let him get up there for like a whole set, like 15, 20 songs. Even the guy, even the people in the bar was like, some guy, I guess was a local or a regular. He said, the guy, the leader of the band said, you didn't miss not one note. So they just put the song, he went to playing. They said he wasn't off key not one time.
Wow.
And that when they was playing like country music and different pop and country music the whole time. You know,
that's a movie scene.
Exactly. and me knowing how good he was,
right.
I need of it, because even a lot of people would have got nervous or whatever. But those kids, when they have a certain thing that they great at on that side of their mind,
lock in, man.
Lock in, and they don't get nervous or they don't get rattled when it's something that they do real good.
And sometimes it made me feel like I don't know what focus is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe they could achieve another level that, that I hope to attain sometimes. They don't taught me a lot about my emotions. Like, I've been literally upset about something that my client have did before he's already over me apologizing to me and sorry for what he did. And I'm having to look at myself like, why am I still mad?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I on? Like, it's over. It's done. Nothing happened. You didn't get hurt. Why am I still mad? So it'd be some life lessons built in that'll really hit you on another level.
Yeah, because my son used to make me mad because he was happy too much.
I feel extremely happy. You be jealous. Like, how you?
Said I come to the house, bad day at work, bills, all that. You know what I'm saying? I felt guilty because I'm mad at him. You know what I'm saying? But
that's funny. I feel you though. I understand. Like, how did you get that happy? Like, you happier than I ever been. I feel like you are right now.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say too, and another thing we talk about that is, I tell people all the time, if you could ever go to like one Special Olympics event and see how they put they all into it, like let's just say you have one of those kids that might be on those crutches, like the ones that go around your arm.
Mm-hmm.
After they want to compete in like the running thing, but of course they walking, and they just get from that point A to point B, and how excited they are just to finish the race. They don't care if they won or lost, just to finish the race. And I said that's one of those life lessons you can learn just by watching those kids and say they just happy to be here and they can be able to have fun and compete. And we so work little things.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I wish I could make everyone volunteer something before they get out of high school or something.
And so another thing I was going to ask you too, because I know we talked about it last time, but it's been a minute, is your song Dirty Hands. And and that song was a tribute to the everyday worker, the construction worker, the nurse, the doctor, the teacher. So is the fact that you went the route you went to get to this world is why you made that song?
Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, the truth of the matter is, these are the real people who make the world go around every day. Like these are the people that really affect how you live your life every day. The fast food worker you touch, like they could poison your food every time you be up out of here. The person that fixes your car, they can do a bad job, you up out of here. Like, want to make sure people know that it's a reason why when you go hit your light switch, it's cause and your light comes on, it's cause some hard working dudes not too far away from you making sure that happen every day. Or women.
Yeah. So growing up, I read that your mom had you doing Beethoven. Did you have to keep that a secret from your friends?
No. Like I couldn't listen to any hip hop until like 8th grade. So when my mom started letting me buy CDs, it was out one of them little magazines where you get the like, they used to hustle like the 40 for $9.99. So I couldn't get no rap. And she had all the stuff I listened to. So I was playing the violin and the recorder at the time. So I hopped on that Beethoven's Ninth Symphony and I listened to that boy till they popped.
Yeah, okay. So basically, what was the first rap when you finally got to listen to rap? Who was the first rapper you heard that really moved you to be like, oh, I can do this?
Oh no, I never thought I could do it. I was just freestyling until like I got into my early 20s and my friends got me to rapping. So as far as my first music, the first album I ever had was Jay-Z Volume 2. But I got kicked out the house at 11th grade and moved in with my dad. And I moved into his stepson's house who was going to college. And he had all the rap magazines on the walls. EPMD, LL Cool J, Salt and Pepper. So I would write all those names down and go to the library. And the first one that really got me was LL Cool J. Like that's the first rapper that like had me like, how could I have not known this exists in my life? And I went through his whole discography. So that's like, he influenced a lot of my style.
And you know what's funny because I know I'm different when it comes to a lot of things because most people when they talk about Jay-Z, they always go to Reasonable Doubt first. And to me, Volume 2 was always my favorite Jay-Z album.
Listen, it changed. He was so clever.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't him. He wasn't trying to be hard. He wasn't trying to be the most gangster. It was a very clever, clean album. And I thought it was a great representation of hip hop at the time. Like when I listened to Dark and Hell is Hot, I knew I didn't want to be a thug. That's what I got out of it. Like it was good, but I ain't trying to be scared. Like I ain't trying to chill with DMX because when I listen to a song, I get into it. You know what I'm saying? So them Jay-Z songs, I was like, oh, so he understands musicianship. He working with the best producers in the world, Timberland, Pharrell. You know what I'm saying? Kanye. That was classic album.
Well, the only thing I got to say about DMX, because I defend DMX, because DMX in my top 5.
And in my top 5 too. What you mean? So it's as dark as hell is hot.
and I tell people this. I say, if you take DMX's first 5 albums and go against anybody else's first 5 albums, I don't think nobody better first 5 albums is better than his first 5 albums, album for album. I just don't. That's just me.
You might be able to go 3 and still get it.
Yeah, exactly. But I'd go because I go all the way up from Hell is Dark, as Dark and Hell is Hot, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. Then there was X. What's the name? Great Depression and Grand Champ. And Great Depression really was the worst one because it was so dark.
Yeah.
But it was, and then if you listen to the last album he did right before he died, it's a really good album.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and it's crazy for him to be able to put that type of body of work together with his drug addiction that he had that was as bad as it was.
You could tell that man wore some traumas on him.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you something was crazy. When he died, and this never happened to me before of anybody like I don't know.
Right.
Died, I cried like a baby. Like at the funeral, when they had the funeral on TV. Wow. I was sitting in a Denny's. I was somewhere, I forgot where I was. I think I was in Utah or somewhere crazy. But I was in a Denny's and I remember walking in and listening to the funeral And I was sitting at the table waiting to eat, and I remember I had to go to the bathroom to gather myself because I literally started crying. And I went to the car after I ate and cried again. And I'm like, because the thing about it was DMX was with all his demons, he was very spiritual. And I met people that was from New York after he passed, and they would always talk about how spiritual he was. And even he talked about how he met this guy that was in the KKK. And he said, "You the only black person that I like."
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Just because of his spiritual aura about DMX. You know what I'm saying?
Jay-Z had one of the best stories about DMX, like how he like started his session off growling, crowd go crazy. But at the end of the set, he got everybody crying because he praying. And Jay-Z like, I gotta follow this shit.
Yeah. You don't want to go behind D. I've seen Jay-Z on stage see, this crazy. I'm gonna tell you what was great about the 90s hip hop. I seen DMX, Jay-Z, and Outkast all on the same show.
The Hard Knock Life tour?
No, this was, I don't know if it was part of the tour, but I remember it was A&T, North Carolina A&T's homecoming.
Wow.
So I don't took part of the tour for that homecoming. And I don't know how Outkast, I think it was Outkast on that one. But I know it was DMX and I know Jay was on the same show. But I just remember DMX crying in front of everybody. And I'm like, you never seen that from a rapper to be able to, especially a street rapper, to be able to cry and everybody just sitting there like with him. Like dang, this nigga a punk. Like they was looking like they would cry with him. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah. Because you ain't gonna question his toughness.
Exactly. So just like, especially the one, I don't know if you ever heard this story, but he used to rob people with a dog. He didn't rob you with a gun or knife. He robbed you with his dog. I'm like,
he had stories that preceded him.
Exactly. So that's crazy. So basically, also, I'm listening to a couple of other songs, and I know you have a rock and roll type vibe on some of the songs, and I know Detroit rappers, Eminem and D12, and they kind of lean towards that a little bit more, and y'all don't really get credit for it. You know what I mean? Like that's the
great Rock City, baby.
But y'all don't really get the credit for it. Like you hear like other rappers when they do rock and roll type stuff, they get the credit for it. But it seems like Detroit, y'all get credit for other stuff, but y'all don't never get credit for actually using that rock and roll sound like y'all should.
I think the difference is when those other people use a rock and roll sound, they usually get a name. You know, they usually get a feature. You know what I'm saying? To throw it, like Run DMC went and got Aerosmith. Ja Rule went and got somebody. When we do it, we really grab the sound because that's all we care about. I love, like, shout out to my man Al Foreman. He commenting, but that's my guitar player. As far as and since I found him, he go everywhere I go. Man, talk with his fingers. So you know what I'm saying. He's gonna be very integral on my next piece of work I put out there, as far as compilation or another EP or whatever. But I love it.
So basically, you saying that when you first getting into rap, you used to freestyle a lot. You said we just never really like went into like the 8 Mile type club scene and did it there.
No, I never cared about battling. I never cared about rapping. What freestyling was for me was just like my stress relief. After a long day in college, me and my boys hit the bar and I'm freestyling. And most of my friends was white then, to be honest. So when I'm freestyling, I'm not really thinking, am I good or not? I'm mostly thinking I like to do it and these white boys enjoy it. So if they telling me I'm dope, I'm not really believing them because, they weren't born in the lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So when I came back to Toledo and start freestyling in front of my black friends, they was like, "Nah, nigga, this ain't normal. You got to go to the studio." And that's how I got started, because I had no idea. I was just really just having fun. I never knew anybody that did music before. They had to show me where the studio is. They had to show me how to make beats. when it came to performing, I went on YouTube and looked up how to hold a microphone. That's how I had to start. I learned everything from scratch, like a nerd, learning how to pace the stage, make eye contact with everybody. Like I built the rapper I am from scratch.
Yeah, so that's kind of crazy. So basically, you was in the heart of music. You was basically in the where music was born, as far as when it comes to Motown and the whole
I
nine.
stayed I
But you,
stayed less than a quarter mile from the Motown Museum.
wow. So
Rosa
basically,
Parks
by
Boulevard.
the time you got the music, Motown, like where their studio was already shut down.
Yeah, but the museum is now where they used to be at, right there in Hitsville
Okay.
on
So
the
is it
boulevard.
like on the movie The Temptations? I think it's like a house or whatever. So is that what it was?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so
They run the
that's
museum out
actually
of it now.
what they used on The Temptations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but it's crazy. So, but you went to Toledo, Ohio, to get your start, basically. Even though
But
you,
no. This is the real roadmap. I go from Detroit to Athens, Ohio, to go to school for nursing.
okay,
From Athens, Ohio, I'm there getting my nurse on. I get a tumor in my pancreas. As I get that taken care of, as I'm recovering, I come to Toledo to stay with my father just to get my get back on my feet again. Start working, start walking around every day. You know what I'm saying? Because I was really down for a minute. During that time is when I start freestyling at my dad's job. That's when they took me to the studio.
okay. Now, for those from a health situation, what led to you knowing or finding out, discovering you had a tumor on your pancreas? Was you in pain? What was going on?
All right, I was working at a hospital in a float pool taking vitals because as I was going through nursing, I was getting my foot in the door working at a hospital. So my job was when people get out of surgery, I go take their vitals, make sure they wake up cool. And I was in a unit with the elderlies with dementia and Alzheimer's and people with MRDD, with developmental disabilities. So when those people wake up from surgery, I'm there to help ease them up, make sure they're not confused or whatever. So I'm working there. I go to get a promotion. To get a promotion, I have to do another physical. When I do the physical, they find my heart is beating crazy, and that lead them to my kidney enzymes, and that lead them to something else, and then I find out. So I find out by getting fired because I couldn't pass my physical for a promotion.
So they fired you for that?
I couldn't pass the physical. I was working there already. So if I can't pass the physical for the new job, I can't pass the physical for the job I got.
So did they pay you for it? Because is it legal?
No. They point me in the right direction, so I got my shit taken care of. They showed me big love.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They put me in front of the line at everything because they can't have me work. I couldn't pass the physical. You know what I'm saying? But as far as helping me out, they put me in front of the line, and I'm forever grateful.
So what was the recovery time on, or what did you have to go through as far as to get yourself back healthy?
Very minuscule radiation.
Okay.
But this is when like kind of my life changed because I'm getting radiation and I'm watching little kids that's like getting quadruple of what I get. And they eating it. Like, you want to play Pokemon?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to get like, 6, 7 years old, 8 years old. I'm like, so that let me know, like, I have no complaints, bro. Like, I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like, it made me feel like I might have been a little soft before that. Like, maybe I was complaining about a little bit too much after I went through that ordeal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the thing. The funny thing about kids is when they sick, a lot of times they don't show it or they don't let it bring them down. You know what I mean? And that's the inspiration that, because I remember a couple of years ago I was trying to look, before COVID, I was trying to look at to see and how we I think with my church I was trying to see like how we could take the kids over to like the children's hospital,
right,
and see how they do, because I'm gonna tell you what I was doing a few months ago, before business got slow. but I had a partner. Me and him used to pick up people from doctor's appointment. I mean, from a rehab clinic, a rehab hospital in Atlanta called the Shepherd Center. And the Shepherd Center is basically the best rehab, one of the probably the top rehab center in the world. Like people from Africa come to this rehab center.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And this is basically for brain injury and spinal. And so we would take people home after, you know, because the way it would work was your insurance would only pay for like a certain amount of time. So the insurance only paid for maybe like a few, maybe 6 months, and it depends on what type of insurance you have. Maybe it'd be less than that. And if it was crazy because either if you showed improvement, then they would send you home. And we would take people from Atlanta all the way to maybe Florida. As far as Columbia, Missouri, we would take them home, and they would still be in recovery mode, where they would still have to do a lot more stuff to get back on their feet or whatever. Or you know, I mean, one time we took a guy home, and they would basically took him home to die. And then the other scenario was if you wasn't showing improvement, they would send you home after a certain amount of time, because the insurance company would be like, well, they're not showing an improvement, we're just gonna send them home. So it was two different scenarios, two different situations, and it made me have a completely different outlook on life, because I'm seeing people at their worst, and then I'm thinking, I'm not even thinking just about them. I'm thinking about the loved ones that have to take care of them. You know what I'm saying? Dang, they're like laying there in bed like a vegetable. And now let's just say you married, and you went from, especially like this says the husband, and the husband been working and the breadwinner and whatever, and all of a sudden he can't work no more, and the wife gotta take care of him and whatever. Find out he can work anymore because she gotta give him one-on-one care every day, and then how hard in life it got for them over just maybe an accident. Because a lot of times it would be car accidents, it would be motorcycle accidents, it would be a lot of it would be ocean, like what they call it when you surfing accidents.
Oh, your brain don't get air for a little bit because of the water.
Well, if you crash and hit your head on a rock or something.
Oh wow.
Or something.
Oh,
crazy.
traumatic brain injury. That's what my girl's brother had. He got his from a overdose.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we had a couple of those. We had a couple of those overdoses or whatever. And it's crazy because it was almost like, you know how you have seasons, like restaurant is slow and busy certain times of the year, and that's how this would be like around right before the spring, summer, or right beginning of spring and summer. It would be a lot of the brain injuries or the spinal cord injuries because of people going out surfing. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be a high number of those type of accidents, rapid accidents happen, and that's when we would get. And then by the time the fall come around, that's when they would need us to take these people home after their rehab because of what happened in the spring and the summer. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so it was that was the crazy part. So basically, man, with the music also, what's your the way you do things? What's your process and how you kind of go about putting your music together?
I mean, inspiration can come any and everywhere, but like as far as like how I usually work, I'm usually working on like 3-4 songs at a time. I treat I treat music like I did homework. When I get bored of a subject or find myself trailing off, I'll go to something else real quick. So that's how I am with music. I work on a song, I switch the beat, I work on a song. Sometimes you lock in, you're not switching, you just on that song and it's just flowing. But other times, I try to roll with not letting anything hold me up. Just keep working, keep pushing. When a hit's a hit. Most of the songs that I write will never see the light of day. But I'm shooting 100 shots in the gym every day like Kobe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So and that's another thing too, because it's funny when people say, because I remember my brother when he used to be we used to rap down in Orlando, and I had other artists I used to manage and deal with. And I just remember being in a studio, and when the artist would say, well, I didn't think it was going to be a hit, or I didn't know. And I'm like, it seemed like me, like it may not necessarily hit as far as the way, like numbers wise all the time, as far as selling. but you know if you got a hit though, like you kind of feel it. It's a feel. It's not just a thought in your head. It's a feel when you hear good music. And the one thing I always prided myself on is I've always had a good ear for music.
Right.
You know, and I can tell because I would tell my artists, I say, you know how I can tell if it's a hit is if I can envision the video. If I can see the video, then I can tell you whether what kind of hit it's gonna be. If it's gonna be a big, if it's gonna be something, whatever. But if I can envision a video for this song, I feel like it's a hit. You know what
Like
I mean?
as far as like I've heard too many artists say they didn't know for me not to put much stock in it. So what I would say is that they put those songs out because they knew something.
Yeah.
You know, so the reason why I might not think a song is a hit is because sometimes the song is a hit because it's right in my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's two different type of songs I make. It's some type of songs where I'm trying to be the best rapper of all time. I'm trying to put these words together in ways never seen before. But when I'm trying to make a hit, it needs to be kind of simple.
Yeah.
I need to get that hook done in maybe less than 10 words. I definitely need a melody on that. And most of the metaphors need to be easily to grasp. I think that's like a recipe that all hits kind of have to follow these days.
Yeah, and that's what I always tell because it was an artist. I'm trying to think, me and Jacob. Sorry for everybody. I think he was having technical difficulties or whatever. So,
I understand.
He wasn't able. Jacob wasn't able to get back home. And I know he dealing with a bad cold the last couple of weeks. So I know he's been under the weather either way. So we're gonna ask everybody for their prayers for that. But dang, I lost my train of thought just that quick. What I was about to say. Anyway, dang, I forgot what I was about to say. Good Lord. You know what I'm saying? That's the old age kicking in. But basically, I'm gonna say this. Like, I just feel like this is what I was gonna say, is that we was talking about some artists. I can't remember who it was, but I was saying that a lot of artists can rap, but they can't necessarily always make songs. You know what I mean? Like, that I'm like, oh, they cool and all, but I've never been a fan of this one or that one because they never was, like to me. I know you probably might get mad at me because you from Detroit, but we was talking about Eminem, and I said Eminem has never been not in my top nothing. He's a great rapper, but he's not in my top anything because I can't relate to what he like. I can't relate to his music. You know what I'm saying? I just can't relate to Eminem's music. You know what I'm saying? Because the one thing I felt like he had a disadvantage. Of course, I just said if a black rapper would have made Slim Shady, they would have got ran out of hip hop at that time. Because Slim Shady had this kind of corny vibe to it, but he got away with it because he was this white kid and it was funny and it was.
This is where hip hop. I think hip hop is amazing. I think they rewarded him for being him. Because before that, all our white rappers had to have a little swag to them, and that's cool. But is that really how you were raised, William? You know what I'm saying? So I felt like the fact that you couldn't relate to him really let you know he was speaking from a white experience. You can't understand.
Yeah.
It was something we didn't have.
And another thing I felt like was unfair that he got away with was, and I know, you cannot talk about your mom the way he talked about his mom.
It's culture, baby.
You cannot, bro.
That's culture, though. That's culture. Listen, but this is the thing. If he did anything but tell the truth, he would have got penalized. But that's how it's culture. Little Timmy talked to his mama in the way that we don't talk to ours. We know that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He got away with it because if he would have been a black, let's just say he was, because I'm trying to think who's the equivalent of him and probably a black rapper that's equivalent to him.
Like Redman.
Like, yeah. And they say Redman was dogging his mama out like that. And
But that would have meant that he wasn't being true to his culture, though. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay,
the reason why Eminem, because he was, he can't get rid of it. That's like Eminem trying to make a song about potato salad. Nah, bro. We not fucking with your potato salad, bro. We don't want it. We don't believe you. You're not talking from experience.
yeah. I feel you. So, cause I felt like that's kind of what happened to D12. Like, D12 had that kind of gimmicky type thing about him, and it kind of, I think that's what kind of made people after a while kind of get tired of them quicker. Because D12 had rap. They could put words.
But they wasn't being true to their culture. Bizarre, that's what he do, and that's why he's still rapping like that.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the rest of them, Swifty McVeigh, he ended up being one of the coldest producer in the game. He's still doing this thing. Proof died, and then you got the, I think one or two more that just fell to the wayside. But that's what happened when you try to put your boys on and you don't get their resumes right.
Cause think about it. Royce the 5'9" was just as cold as he might not have been as super lyrical as Eminem.
No, he's a monster.
He would dang near close.
No, he's a monster. Royce is in my top 10. I don't know if you heard when him and DJ Premier done dropped, but they've been going stupid.
Oh well, I definitely got to listen to that then.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm always listening, and that's funny. I said, boy, y'all young boys better get it together, because with Nas been killing it the last couple of years, and
I keep up with him, Royce the 5'9", Nas, of course, Lupe Fiasco, Brother Ali. These the people I listen to when I think I'm feeling too cocky. Black Thought.
I'm feeling too cocky.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm feeling sweet. Like, nobody fucking. I tell them some shit like, Jesus Christ, man. Did he just say that?
Yeah.
Especially Black Thought lately. Everything, people don't even want to rap with Black Thought no more.
Yeah. After that freestyle on Flex, it was over with.
Yeah.
Like, nobody that, like, he got his freestyle on Flex ever. And Flex said he did all that in one take, and that was like a 10-minute.
Yeah. And Toby and Giway.
You said who?
Toby and Giway.
Oh, okay. I've heard of them. I don't think I've heard too much material from them, but definitely, like, like I think when it comes to like what the current stuff out the most, I think Griselda is probably my favorite artist right now. I was kind of mad with Conway on his last album, because I felt like he was being a little lazy. I think he could have bars and all that. I think he could have done better. But definitely Benny the Butcher, I like him a lot. Monster. Or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think out of the three, he understands how to make songs the best.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably the best rapper too, though.
Yeah, he's like the Jadakiss of the three of them. You know what I'm saying? Understands commercial songs and how to make the street stuff and all that at the same time. Where I think like the other, like West Side Gun is like, I don't know, I like him, but it's kind of, sometimes it gets weird after a while because of his voice and stuff.
He like Cameron to me. Like his persona is kind of like what he sells over his lyrics.
Yeah. And it's like, always, it's like,
and then he talk like, you know what I'm saying?
After a while, I was like, oh my God, like, I said, you might get kind of, and I hate to say people get mad, but I said, it kind of reminded me when I heard Boosie back when like he first, I said, he used to like,
he first started.
And I said, I couldn't Boosie back in the day because he sounded to me like Kermit the Frog to me.
Right. He was definitely piercing.
Yeah, I couldn't get past that. Like, that's why certain artists I just like today is like certain artists I can't listen to because I'm like, their voices be killing me. I just can't do it. You know,
the tone. That's one of the parts of being a legend. If you got your own tone that somebody can recognize as soon as you come on, it increase your chances by at least 10-15%.
Yeah. So based on this new album, what are you going for on this new project?
Oh, it's very simple. Space, church, rock and roll.
Okay.
Space, church, rock and roll. That's what I'm trying to get across in these next couple of pieces. Like I'm trying to stretch sound, and I'm really just trying to carve out my little section of hip hop on what I like to do.
So what you mean about space? You said space?
Yeah.
Okay, so explain. What does that mean?
All right, like big, like arena music.
Okay.
You know, it's the difference between club music and arena music.
Got you. Got
You know, a little more chance, but you know, we're gonna keep our soul in it, and we definitely about to rock out.
Okay. Okay. You said in church. So you
Yeah.
try spiritual with the music. That
Oh
you
yeah,
put.
soulful. You know, like I really can't. I don't know how else to explain it to people who aren't in the culture.
Yeah.
But when most people think of church, they think of the organs, choir, and bigger sounds, and that's what I'm going for.
Well, to me personally, I feel like when it comes to gospel music, it's not about the sound, it's about the message and the feel of what you're trying to put out. It's not about the sound, because the sound, because if your sound stays the same from what you heard, think about when you heard gospel music from like a Mahalia Jackson or somebody, or
Right.
Alabama Boys, or back in the day. If music kind of, and nothing against that, but if the music stayed at that sound today, a lot of, especially young people, wouldn't really gravitate to it. So when somebody like a Kirk Franklin came and brought a whole different sound, and the older people got mad, and I'm like, to me, don't you feel like somebody had to come along and be creative enough and think outside the box to grab the young people? Because at the end of the day, it's about, if you really look at the Bible, God had all these examples of how he had to do things to show people who he was. So basically, that's what he created people to do, to say, I need for you to be creative enough to kind of bring people to me. And Kirk Franklin is the type of person who would think outside the box to bring people to God. So I think that's basically what gospel music or whatever, or church music or whatever you want to call it, has to be, especially in this
Right.
era. Because with the pastors dropping the ball left and right, from sleeping with the congregation to doing all kind of mischievous stuff, to the TD Jake stuff, or whatever you want to call it, these pastors are dropping the ball. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but they really dropping the
it's
ball.
wild though. It's wild.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where somebody has, because one thing I thought about, because I'm watching the I don't know if you've been watching it, the Genius show with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King miniseries.
Okay.
And check it out if you get a chance, because it's real. I ain't gonna lie, like that show is more raw than what you ever seen in their individual movies. Wow. So with them together, the way they put it together, it's a little bit more raw to whatever, you kind of really see who they really were.
Right. And what they say in the books.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
but my thinking was, as I was watching it, I was thinking, what's crazy is we have all these so-called mega pastors, but when we have real social issues, none of them really step up to be that face. You know what I'm saying? And
I think mega pastors need to have term limits like president.
yeah.
I mean, it seems like, and I could be stereotyping here, when some of these men have power for, I don't know, 2-3 decades, they develop perversions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden regular sex ain't good enough. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, a dozen women ain't enough. All of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? They doing, when these stories are coming out, they're crazy. Like, we're not just talking about a man making a mistake or slipping up or maybe cheating on his wife. We talking about these mans beating women till they blue and black and sending them across seas so they can heal. We talking about these men having other men under their heel because of stuff they done reported and recorded and stuff like that. And it's like, how can you have so much power and so much free time that's what you end up doing with all of your mass resources and influence?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what you end up doing.
Yeah. And another thing too is, And I stay in Atlanta, and one of the biggest churches in Atlanta is Creflo Dollar's church.
Mm.
And Creflo Dollar Church is on Old National. If you know anything about Old National, just think about in Detroit. Think about one of the worst, or probably the most impoverished, like streets in Detroit. And if you
It'd
had a
be
mega,
looking like Iraq out there. I don't know.
huh?
It'd be looking like Iraq out there on some of them streets.
But like I know they trying to clean up that Old National, but Old National one of those streets that like it's sitting right there in the middle of the hood, and I'm like,
Wow.
I just never understood, like, because people don't realize Jesus was basically poor. Jesus was not a
Jesus
rich.
was in the hood.
Exactly. So, mega pastor, you should have. I ain't gonna say you should have enough money to function, but you should have. You should never. You shouldn't be so rich where you sit here saying, "Well, I need a jet or a private plane to go everywhere." Like you should be. You should be comfortable in the way you living, but it should be the point where you making money where you mostly giving it away.
Yes, you should
like
be helping their private.
like
Where your church to sit should just beautify the neighborhood by being there. From you
exactly.
being generous. So you know something's going on, but it's like it's a generation of us that they trying to buy their way into heaven.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from the things they might have did, and instead of going to therapy and maybe talking to your niece and nephew about what uncle did, you about to go pay the reverend $1,000 to feel better. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I think my generation is really like we stumping on courses. My generation. Like, you know,
I'll be looking at my son and stuff, and y'all generation don't play no game. Y'all don't play the ready. Y'all don't accept the status quo.
Listen, my mom and dad didn't used to tell us we love you a lot. Me and my sisters machine gun that shit at them. I love you. Nah, that's all they say. They like, you ain't tell me I love you before you left. I'm like, they don't even remember now. But that's how they was raised with their parents. Their parents was harder. You know, 40-hour-a-week factory workers. You know what I'm saying? They really didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? So we don't care, bro. We about to get this love.
Yeah, that's crazy because I told like with my wife and stuff, and I told people, I tell all the time because she's one of those people that tell you love you all day, every day, and or whatever. And I said because when I grew up, I didn't hear that word.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Either it was more, oh, you got a roof over your head, you got clothes in your back, you good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or
and when you turn 18, you know what to do.
Exactly. So I'm a short for you, but you ain't gonna get that. I love you. I never.
No hugs, no kisses. They weren't like that.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm not the baby sweetheart type person, and I said, it was crazy. I was just telling my wife this the other day. I said, you know what's crazy? I didn't have that example. I said my grandmother called her husband by his last name. He was an ex-military guy, so she called him. I said I didn't have relationships around me where my mom, people she dated, they wasn't calling each other baby and honey around me. I said even like my aunt, my uncle, they called my aunt, uncle, they called each other by their name. I didn't grow up hearing those little nicknames that people give each other or say.
A loving relationship.
Yeah, I didn't see that. So for me, I had to learn all that on the fly when I was an adult on how to be more softer. I mean, when I first got married, I had to go to counseling, and my preacher had to tell me, Eddie, you can't be blunt all the time because that's how my grandmother was. That's how my mom was.
Right.
All my family, they was blunt, and they're like, you can't always say like if your girl say to you, "How I look in this dress?" I don't think it'll make you look fat or it make you straightforward. And I didn't get it. Like, I can't be real. I'm
gonna tell the truth. Yeah.
Like, well, you gotta say it. You gotta say, well, you know what? Why don't you put on the red one instead of the black one? You know what I'm saying? So it's like I like you better than that one over there. Like, you gotta kind of, not lie, but just give them options. You know what I mean? Something like that. It's like this. So anyway, brother, man, I appreciate you coming on. We was able to get this one in, or whatever, man. So just tell everybody where they can find you, and what you got going on. I don't know if you got a name for the project yet, but just tell everybody where they can find you and all that. What you got coming up.
You can find me at MacNova Universe on all platforms. That's from TikTok to Instagram. On Facebook, you could just look up good old MacNova. Please give my man Al Foreman a follow. That's my guitar player. That's my right-hand man. Shout out to my manager, Deborah Sue at Glass City Talent. Shout out Mr. Coleman at Media Blast for hooking me up with another interview, man. He been getting me back in the saddle lately. I appreciate you, Jonathan.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, man, like I said, man, I appreciate you coming on. I apologize to everybody for my partner not being on, but I know, like I said, been under the weather. He was having some internet issues, whatever. But, you know, we're going to keep this thing rocking and rolling. And, you know what I'm saying, until next time, man, we out. Y'all have a blessed week.
Thank you, boss.
Yes, sir.
We got the good vibe, got the 1942 pouring in my cup. In the session real loud, good gas, yeah, you know we about to roll it up. Bring the bottles to the session, big tab, go ahead and just live it up.